Hello and welcome to another exam paper walkthrough, and we are continuing our past paper series, and today we're looking at the November 2020, and I'm going to be doing paper 2F. So it's the first calculator paper. Attached to the description to this video you will find a Google link where you can download a copy of the paper. I would strongly recommend you do it alongside or before you watch the video. Put some music on in the background, and if you find it useful, please do subscribe. Okay then, so we'll crack straight on with question one. Write as a fraction. So this is a calculator paper, but we shouldn't really need a calculator for this. This is just 3500, so 3700, so 37 out of 100. Write 29,381 correct to the nearest thousand. So we're going to this digit here, so that is 29,000. If the hundreds digit was a 5 or more, I would be rounding it up. Question 3 then, simplify. So 4e minus e is 2e plus 4e is 6e. And question 4, write 1 quarter as a percentage. Well, 1 quarter is the same as 25 out of 100. So that's going to be 25%. And question 5. Here's a list of numbers. From the list, pick a cube number. So a cube number is that's times by itself 3 times. So in effect, anything n to the power of 3. So our cube number here is going to be 27 because 3 cubed is equal to 27. So 27 is our cube number. Okay, Liz is watching a film at the cinema. The film started at 14:30. The film is 105 minutes long. When Liz film ends, Liz takes 20 minutes to get back to the bus stop. The bus leaves at 16:45. Does she arrive there on time? I'm going to use my time function on my calculator to help me with this. So I'm going to type it in as 14 hours and 30 minutes. To that time, I want to add 0 hours and 105 minutes. And then to that, I want to add on 0 hours and 20 minutes. And then compare that total to 1645. So let me just sort out my vision. Okay, so this is the figure here that's our time function. So I'm going to type 14 hours and 30 minutes. To that time, I want to add on 0 hours and 105 minutes. And then to that, I will also, I've mistyped just there. I don't need that plus sign. And to that, I want to add on 0 hours and 20 minutes. And then my calculator will automatically work out the time that will finish. 16:35. 16:35. So does she get to the bus stop on time? Yes, she would be 10 minutes early. Be 10 minutes early. Okay, question 7. Farhad, George and Tom did a test last week. Here are the list. Here are their marks for the test. George drew the bar chart to show the marks they got. The bar chart is not fully correct. Write down 2 things that are wrong with George's bar chart. So there are 2 errors here. Firstly, this is an error, the fact that it doesn't start at 0. Secondly, we've got uneven widths. So 2 things. No symbol to show jump from 0 to 71. That's the first thing. The second thing is Tom's width of Tom's bar is not equal to the others. Okay, question 8. Work out the size of the angle marked with X. That's going to be 180 minus 150. So that would be 30 degrees. And the reason for that is, give a reason for your answer. Angles on a line equal 180 degrees. And second part, diagram below is wrong. Explain why. 90 plus 360 is equal to 4. No, sorry, I've miswritten there. So I would say angles at point equal 360 degrees, and 90 plus 280 equals 370, so is wrong. Question 9, this scale can be used to change kilometers to miles. Change the scale, use the scale to change 40 kilometers to miles. So 40 kilometers is going to be hitting here, which is directly in between, so that would be 25 miles. Here is the approximate rule to change from kilometers to mile. Divide the distance in kilometers by 10 and multiply by 6. Use this approximation to convert 40 kilometers into miles. 40 divided by 10 times by 6 equals 4 times by 6 equals 24. Compare your answer to part A with your answer to part B. My answer to part A is larger. Answers are close, but my part A is larger than part B. So answers are very close, but my answer to part A is greater than my answer to part B. Question 10, solve. So for this, I'm going to divide both sides by 3. So m would be equal to 12. And for this one, I personally would take my x's over to the other side. So I would say 7 is equal to x plus 3. Minus 3 from both sides. 4 is equal to x. So x is equal to 4. Okay, here's a cuboid. Work out the volume. So volume is base times width times height, or the 3 dimensions times together. Your order for this is up to you. I would probably do 4 times by 15 first of all. So that's going to be 30, 60 times by 10, which would give me 600. And an independent mark here for my units, so centimeter cubed. Okay, question 12. Lucy uses a code to open a lock. The code has a letter followed by a 2-digit number. The letter is L or U, and the number is a prime number between 20 and 30. Write down all the possibilities of Lucy's code. So the prime numbers, first of all, between 20 and 20 and 30 are 23 and 29. And then we've only got the option of an L or a U. So we could have an L and a 23, an L and a 29. We could have a U and a 23, or a U and a 29. Those are my only possible combinations. Okay, question 13. A machine fills bags with sweets. There are 4,275 sweets. There are 28 sweets in each full bag. The machine fills as many bags as possible. How many sweets are left? So 4,275 divided by 28 gives me, and I actually want this as a mixed fraction. So if I go 4,275 divided by 28, that gives me as an improper. If I want it as a mix, I press shift and then the fraction button. So I've got 152 bags and 19/28 left over, which implies straight away that we've got 19 sweets left over, because we've got 19, which is still divided by 28. So we've got 19 sweets left over. Okay, question 14, the pie charts question. I draw an accurate pie chart for this information. So it's a 3-mark question. 3 marks come fairly in a fairly uniform way. So first of all, I need to work out the total number of people that have been asked. So 50 plus 45 plus 25 gives me 120. And I want my angles to be out of 360. So I've got to times each frequency by 3. And that's normally your first mark. So we've got 150, 45, 135, and 75. We can double check that they add up to 360. So let me get my sizing right, and then I'm just going to take this over to a different program. Okay, so I've just brought it over here because I can kind of almost bring up a protractor. So I've got my 0 line marked on my pie chart already, and I want to measure a 150-degree angle. So I put my protractor on the center of my circle, and then I'm going to measure 150 round. So we're looking there's my 150. This is where I struggle. Can I go 1 more degree without messing up? No, too far. Okay, so I need to go just below that mark. Right, so using my ruler again then. Right, so take my ruler. I want a straight line going through the angle and the point. Ooh, struggling here. There we go, that's my first section then, so that is city. Similar process for 135-degree angle now, so switch for a protractor. Center of the protractor goes on the center of the angle, and then I'm measuring 135. So let's change pen color now, just to show my different section. So starting at 0, going round to 135. Okay, again, gone 1 degree too far. Switch for a ruler. Ruler goes through that point and that point. So that's my next section. Label that rover. And then assuming I've drawn that line, then my final is 75. Let's just see what it measures at the moment. See how accurate I've drawn it. Yeah, we're pretty close. So that final section then was united. And there we go. Don't need to show the angles on the pie chart because I've shown them in the table above. So that would work absolutely fine for that. Okay then, question 15. Work out the value of t when x is 5 and y is minus 7. So t is going to be equal to 3 times by 5 plus 4 times by minus 7. Whenever I'm substituting with a negative number, I will always type it in brackets. And then I can simply type it into my calculator. That's the third time lucky. 3 times 5 plus 4 times by open bracket minus 7 close bracket equals minus 13. Real common mistake is not putting your minus in a bracket. It doesn't really affect that one though. Work out the value of y when t is 38 and x is 6. So 38 is equal to 3 times by 6 plus 4y. So 38 is equal to 18 plus 4y minus 18 from both sides. 20 is equal to 4y. Divide both sides by 4. Y would be equal to 5. Okay, question 16. An exam has 2 papers, paper 1, paper 2. Paper 1 has 60 marks, paper 2 has 90 marks. Pass mark is 2/3 for the total number of marks. Danielle scores 70% on paper 1. How many marks must she get on paper 2 in order to pass? First thing I'm going to do is 60 plus 90, that's the total, times by 2/3. That is going to be equal to 150, 60 plus 90 times by 2/3 is going to be 100. And she got 70% on paper 1, so we need to do 70 times by 60, which is going to give us 42, which means that she will need 58 on her final paper. And I've just done the total that she needs minus the total that she's got. So 100 take away 42 would be like 58. Okay, question 17. Scott wants to make orange juice. He's going to buy a box of oranges, 24 oranges in a box. 30 oranges can make 2 litres of orange. Scott needs to buy enough oranges to make 8 litres. Work out the number of boxes he must buy. Okay, so we want to make 8 litres. So for 2 litres, you need 30 oranges. So for 8 litres, you're going to need, I've times by 4 there, so I need to times by 4 there. So I'd need 120. And if they're in boxes of 24, 120 divided by 24 is going to give me 5. 120 divided by 24 gives me 5. So we would need 5 crates. Scott also buys 1,260 apples, 280 bananas. Write down the ratio of the number of apples Scott buys to the number of bananas that Scott buys. So we're looking at apples to bananas. 1260 to 280. You can cancel it down how you want. I tend to use my calculator, type it in as a fraction, and it will automatically cancel it down for me. I tend to put the largest of the ratios on top, just to save going into mixed fractions. So 9 to 2. Okay, question 18. Describe fully the single transformation that maps A onto B. So we can see that the image has been rotated. So we've got rotation of 180 degrees. Don't need to state clockwise or anti-clockwise because of the fact that it's a rotation. Because of the fact it's 180 degrees. And if I look at joining like points, we can see that they cross at a specific coordinate. So that's the center of rotation, or about the point. Minus 1, 0. Okay, question 19 then. Adam, Linda and Ritus share an amount of money, and then we're given some kind of comparisons between them. So if I set it up like A, L and R, Linda gets 3 times as much as, so R is equal to 3L. Linda gets half as much as Adam gets, so Adam is equal to 2L. So if I say Linda gets 1, R gets 3 times as much, and L gets that. What fraction of the money does Linda get? So Linda would get, I think I've done that wrong. Linda gets half as much as Adam gets. Linda gets, I've done that wrong. So Linda gets twice as much. Linda gets 3 times as much as Writers gets, so 3, 1, and then 6. So Linda gets 3 out of the 10 parts, so 3 out of 10. Okay, question 20. Pens and pencils are sold in the shop. 12 pens cost £1.80. The ratio of pens to the ratio of the cost of a pen to the cost of a pencil is 3 to 7. Work out the cost of 5 pens. In effect, probably the most straightforward way, pens to pencils, P to pen will go P to PC, pens to pencils, 7 to 3. We want the cost of 5 pens. So we know that 12 pencils cost £1.80. So I could work out what. So I also know that 12 pencils PC is equal to £1.80. So each pencil is going to cost me 1.8 divided by 12. So each pencil is going to cost me 0.15 or 15 pence. So if we've got 0.15 here, so I'm going to do 0.15 divided by 3 times by 7, 0.35. So that's 1 of each. So 1 pencil costs 15 pence and 1 pen costs 35 pence. So the cost of 5 would be 0.35 times by 5. So it's going to cost me £1.75. So 5p is going to be equal to 1.75. Okay, and question 20, write 84 as a product of its prime factors. You can use your calculator to do this. So I'm just going to type in fact 84. So if I use my calculator and do 84 equals, and then go shift fact, I'm not sure if that hit, shift fact, oh it did, I just wasn't looking in the right place. So it is 2 squared times by 3 times by 7. Nothing wrong with doing a factor tree for that. It's just a bit of a shortcut on your calculator. Okay, find the lowest common multiple of 60 and 84. Again, I tend to use a hack on my calculator if it's a calculator paper. So I would say that that would cancel down to 60 over 84. So that's 5 over 7. So that's automatically cancelled down by the highest common factor. So the lowest common multiple can be found by either numerator times denominator. So it's going to be 60 times 7, or we could do we will get the same value, 84 times 5. They'll each give you the same value, 420. So that's just a couple of little shortcuts you can take with your calculator. Okay, question 23. Complete the Venn diagram for this information. So we've got even numbers. So we're only using the numbers 1 to 10. We've got even numbers and factors of 10. So if I start by looking at factors of 10, it would be 1 and 10, 2 and 5. Then the only even numbers there are 2 and 10. And then the factors of 10 are also 1 and 5. And the other even numbers are 4, 6, 8. And then in the outside, I've missed some numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's my completed one. Find the probability that the number is in the intersection. So we've got a total of 10 digits, and we've got 2 in the intersection, so 2 out of 10. Okay, question 23. Carlo puts tins into small boxes and into large boxes. He can put 6 tins into a small box and 20 tins into a large box. Carlo has 3,000 tins to put in boxes. The number of small tins to the number of large tins is 2 to 3. Carlo says that less than 20% of the boxes filled were large boxes. Is Carlo correct? So we're going to come back to that final statement shortly. So we've got number of tins in small boxes to the number of tins in large boxes is 2 to 3. Okay, so we've got a total of 5 parts. We want to split all of this into those 5 parts. So 3,000 divided by 5 equals 600. So we times them by 600. So that means that we've got 18,000 in small boxes and 18,000 tins in large boxes and 12,000 in large boxes. We can then work out the number of boxes. So that is tins. Now if we do number of boxes, I would need to divide this one by 6. So we have got 200 small boxes, and we need to divide the larger one by 20, which would give us 900. 1800 divided by 20, 90. Let me just double check that in my head. That looks right. Carlos says that less than 30% of the boxes are large boxes. So let's look at what the actual percentage is. So we have got 90 large boxes out of 290 boxes in total. If we times that by 100, that gives us 90 divided by 290 times by 100. So we have got 31%. Well, technically 31.03448% are large. Carlos says less than 30%, so no. Over 31% are large. Nasty worded question. Right, question 24. Complete the table of values for 5 minus x to the power of 3. So I tend to use the table function on my calculator for this. If you're not happy, you'll just need to type in each value separately, which is absolutely fine. So the table function is 3, and the function that I'm typing in is 5 minus x cubed. So I type it in as 5 minus alpha x to the power of 3. My table starts at minus, I don't need a second function. My table starts at minus 2 and goes up to 2, and I want it to go in steps of 1. So that gives me my table of values straight away. So when x is minus 2, y would be 13. When x is minus 1, y would be 6, which we've already got. 5, 4, and then let's just go down on my minus 3. So if I then plot those points, minus 2, 13 is going to be there. Minus 1 and 6 would be there. 0 and 5 would be there. 1 and 4 would be there. And then 2 and minus 3 would be there. So joining those up with smoothish curve. That's not a very smooth curve. So we're looking at a cubic wave there. Okay then, question 25. Work out the value of x correct to 1 decimal place. So some basic trig. This is going to be the hypotenuse, or h. This side that I'm working with here is going to be the opposite. So I'm using the I'm using the h and the o, which is the sine ratio, SOH. The side I'm trying to work out is the opposite. So in effect, s times by o is going to be equal to s times by h. So x is going to be equal to the sine of 34 times by 178. So let's go back into my calculator. And I actually want it in mode 1. Double check that we've got it in degrees. We have. And we're looking at sine of 34 times by the hypotenuse 178. This is one where the brackets are definitely needed. So that gives us 99.5363 ... So to 1 decimal place, that's going to be 99.5 millimeters. Okay, and the final question, I believe. Final question. Oh, not quite. No, we've got a few. I'm slightly out with my timings there. Right, so 2 lots of A minus 3 lots of B, so that's going to become 2 lots of 3, 4 minus 3 lots of 5 minus 2. That's going to become 6, 8 minus 15 minus 6. So 5 minus 15 is going to be minus 9. And then 8 minus minus 6 becomes 8 plus 6, so that would be 14. Right, 27. So we've got diagram shows a right angle triangle and a quarter of a circle. The right angle triangle is 90-degree angle. The quarter has center C and radius CB. Work out the area of the quarter circle. Okay, so we're using a bit of Pythag to work out the radius here. I'm going to call it r for now. So r squared is going to be equal to 9 squared minus 6 squared. So r squared is going to be, so we'll go straight to r. So we want the square root of 9 squared minus 6 squared. So we've got 3 root 5. Could go decimal here. I'm going to keep it like that because my calculator can do most of this work then. And I want just the area of the quarter circle. So now that I've got the radius, the area is going to be equal to pi r squared over 4 because I want a quarter of a circle. So if I square that value, times it by the radius, times it by pi. Oh, calculator's gone a bit crazy. Times by pi gives us that value, and then I want that divided by 4. So I get 45 pi over 4. But I want that as a decimal, so that's going to give me 35.3429 ... So to 3 significant figures, that's going to be 35.3. Okay, question 28. Each interior angle of a regular polygon is 15 degrees. Work out the number of sides. So 360 divided by 15. 360 divided by 15 equals 24 sides. And 29, write down the gradient of the line of equation y is equal to 2x plus 4. So if I compare that with y equals mx plus c, m is 2, so the gradient would be 2. And that brings us to the end of that paper. So all 29 top questions linked to their topic are available also on the chapter index for this paper. The scores per paper, per question as well is quite interesting, the breakdown. And then finally again, marks for this paper. So this was paper 2F. Those are those are the grade boundaries technically, because this came from the November 2022 paper. They're saying 55 for a 5, 45 for a 4, 33 for a 3, 21, and then 9 for the 1. Hopefully you found that useful. Please, any questions, comments or feedback, type them into the chat for the video. And remember to subscribe if you like.